Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Obviously, the Black Ops 7 beta so far has kind of been a roller coaster. It started off and there was a lot of negativity surrounding the multiplayer, mainly focused around how sweaty the game was, how insane skill-based was, and then Call of Duty did something I don't think anyone saw coming, and they actually introduced the open mosh pit to the game, which is essentially the classic matchmaking system of Call of Duty in effect prior to when they added in the super strict skill-based matchmaking. And they've actually now doubled down on committing to lower skill-based matchmaking or no skill-based matchmaking since it's the classic system. And we have some new leaks that indicate some very exciting things, and Treyarch even maybe going a step further to enhance the overall matchmaking experience in Call of Duty. Quite frankly, I can't believe it, but here's what they posted earlier on this weekend, prior to the beta going open with like the free-to-play beta and everything. Treyarch says, "We're excited to see the response to today's open mosh pit playlist change with classic matchmaking where skill is minimally considered." For what it's worth, that tweet that they posted saying we're introducing the no skill-based matchmaking playlist had like over 4 million views. I think that might be one of their most successful tweets of all time on their account, which just goes to show, yes, it's that easy to get support from the player base when you listen to what the player base wants, right? They say, "As a reminder, we're always listening to our community. As many of you have noted, we continue to prioritize updates and why we're making them based on player feedback." And this next paragraph is the super important one. I think what they're saying here is very subtle, but I even called this out. It seems like a lot of people on Twitter when I posted about this were saying, yeah, it certainly reads that way. They say, "Beta is all about trying things, gathering data, and being a part of the community dialogue. We look forward to sharing more in-depth takeaways from the beta on the road to launch, including more on matchmaking and how we keep players together." This is the important sentence here. How we keep players together. Real quick, last paragraph here. In the meantime, jump into the Black Ops 7 beta. Tell us what you think. The open beta is fully out now. They have several open mosh pits that you can try out with basically no skill-based factoring in, and the lobbies feel way, way better. It's like night and day, truly. But let's focus on this. How we keep players together. You guys know, we've talked about it several times, especially as of late, because a lot of leaks and rumors that have surfaced. Another thing that's going on with the discussion of matchmaking is disbanding lobbies. We had a report from the Ghost of Hope a while back saying that Treyarch was actively pushing to Activision that they would like to have no disbanding lobbies in the game, meaning you play one match against a set group of people, and then the next match is still against that same group of people unless they start to back out or you want to try out a different lobby or something. You get persistent lobbies, which is huge. It allows you to make friends, make rivals. If the connection in the game felt really good, you know you're going to be playing on the same server, same people yet again. If you're stomping the enemy team and they don't back out, well, hey, the next game probably going to feel pretty good as well, depending on team balancing. So like disbanding lobbies is how Call of Duty really took away from the social aspect of what multiplayer was in a way. And Treyarch, as we said, have apparently been pushing for that to be a thing. And then we got word that, you know, it's not going to be in the beta. It is what it is. And then they surprised us with the open mosh pit. Well, I think their phrasing here is incredibly intentional, including more on matchmaking and how we keep players together. I feel like that is saying it without saying it. They are pushing more and more for persistent lobbies, to remove disbanding lobbies from the game. Now, there's no saying if this is something that'll actually happen in the beta or if this is something they're trying to push to happen in launch, but it would be absolutely huge if, in addition to open matchmaking, they also introduced persistent lobbies. Actually listening to community feedback, acting on it in a way that I don't think many of us saw coming. We all say, you know, we would love to have less skill-based. We'd love to have persistent lobbies, but we also say that knowing that Activision doesn't want that because they have this many bits of data that back up, oh, it's good for the community and whatnot, right? So them listening already gives me a little bit more hope that them being very specific with their words here does indicate that disbanding lobbies may not be a thing in Black Ops 7, but that's not all for the surprising news. It seems we might have actually just flat out won in terms of matchmaking and what the community wants for it for Black Ops 7 based on some new leaks. Now, as we do jump into the remainder of the discussion here, keep in mind, if you guys are new to the channel, maybe you have not subscribed yet, we should change that. Every day I got you covered with all things going on in Call of Duty. Obviously, big days ahead. We've got Season 6 coming up. We've got Battlefield 6 coming out as well, which is going to be crazy. Then we're officially on the road to launch here for Black Ops 7. So you're not going to want to miss anything. Feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications. And if you enjoy this video, a like rating is always seriously appreciated as well. It really does help grow the channel, and share the video around. But next up, we've got this new report from Hope, who is one of the more credible insider sources that we've got in the COD community. He says, I have heard that open matchmaking, aka no skill-based matchmaking, is staying for launch of Black Ops 7. That means that it was that successful on just a few days of being in the Black Ops 7 beta, partly in the early access beta, partially now in the open beta. They are fully aware that this is bringing players to the game. It's probably keeping players on the game longer. Kind of goes against what all their retention stuff was. Oh, skill-based is keeping players on the game. It's good for retention. He does say it's unclear if it's going to be by default or if it'll be the open playlists. But that's the word on the street currently. No updates on non-disbanding lobbies yet. But obviously we have that tweet from Treyarch, which seems very deliberate and very intentional there. But this again would be absolutely huge if the response to open matchmaking in the beta went over so well that in just a few days time they're already talking about having this in the full version of the game. Now, for what it's worth, I do hope that it's just the default matchmaking, quite frankly, so that I can have the great connection that I'm having now in the Black Ops 7 beta. It is night and day if I test out the playlist how consistent my connection feels match after match after match in the open mosh pit versus when I go to the normal mosh pits with strict skill-based matchmaking. My experience is just completely different, and it's not even always the level of skill of the players that I'm going against. I've been stomped several times in the open mosh pit. I've also had some of my best games in the open mosh pit as well, but the games just feel better. They feel more diverse. Every match is a little bit different, and I like that. It's so refreshing to have this back in COD again. And I think if they were to use it as playlists in the full launch of the game, they're just kind of limiting that potential great experience. I think if they have it as a playlist, they are hard capping the ceiling at a certain level for a lot of players. Now, obviously, you'll have players who will flock to the open matchmaking if it does stay as a playlist, and that's going to ultimately be a lot of sweaty players, but probably a lot of casuals too after they start hearing more and more. It's like, oh, the connection feels a lot better here. Gameplay feels a little bit more fresh here. You start to see more and more people flock towards that, like you're already seeing in the beta now. And then it just doesn't really make sense to have the strict skill-based matchmaking in public matches if you're also going to have ranked play into season 2 and everything else there. Just kind of adds in this playlist slop where there's all sorts of different options here and makes some of them redundant. So if they were to just ultimately have open matchmaking as the default and then ranked play in season 2, and that was the multiplayer matchmaking experience, plus potentially persistent lobbies by removing the disbanding lobbies, that would be huge for this game. Now, that's not necessarily going to be the difference of this game being a 10 out of 10 and a 1 out of 10, but I think it will bump up a lot of people's opinions on this game, as it has already, mine included. Obviously, some people will still not enjoy the super futuristic stuff or enjoy the movement or the guns or whatever else, the maps, whatever the case is, right? But this, for the core COD experience, those who already wanted to enjoy this game but were hampered or hindered by that matchmaking experience, this would be such a W if it ends up coming to fruition. And by all things that we know right now, Treyarch teasing it themselves, and Hope with his very credible track record, seems like we could have some very, very good things happening for the first time in a very long time for matchmaking in Call of Duty. I'm also really curious to see how they'd approach this for Warzone as well. Open matchmaking in Warzone would be pretty interesting. I'd also love that it wouldn't take as long to find lobbies and to fill lobbies and be on a good connection there as well. So hopefully it is something that ends up just spanning across all of Call of Duty for the foreseeable future. But that being said, that is going to wrap things up for this video. Some fantastic news that, quite frankly, I read that paragraph from Treyarch and I was like, wow, does this actually mean they're really pushing for the no disbanding lobbies? Like, exciting stuff for sure. I hope that it all comes to fruition, no pun intended there, with the ghost of hope. But once again, thank you guys so much for tuning into the video. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to drop a like on your way out. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Join us on the road to 1 million. And once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.